Welcome to the October 17th, is that the date? Regular meeting of the Ojai Arts Commission. Roll call, please. James.
Commissioner Grau? Here. Thank you. And microphones, please, all commissioners.
Here.
Vice Chair Steiner?
Here.
Commissioner Wright?
Here.
Chairperson West?
Present.
And Commissioner Leeds is absent.
Yes. He sends his best, and we'll be seeing him soon, and we wish him well. Pledge allegiance. Let's do this. Flag is here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yay! All right. Welcome, welcome. We received one public comment, not on the presentations, which I think has been disseminated. Is there anything else? Anyone waiting?
We have no other comment cards at this time.
All right. Let the fun begin. Item number 4. Hey, welcome artists. So happy to have you guys. And just a little bit of housekeeping. I wish we've been starting every meeting this year with with an arts group doing a presentation to open the meeting. Has brought such beautiful energy to the Arts Commission. We have a 5-year plan. We'll be fighting for more and more and more money for the arts organizations in this town. We're trying to do this through government. That's why all these volunteers are up here right now, and we really want to support. I can't think of a better way to bring the town together, to provide a creative economy, to bring everybody together. And as your Arts Commission up here, we're going to try to put the kind of hub and spokes together to connect you guys even better, because it's not us going to tell you what to do, but keeping you informed of how you can help each other, help this town. That's our goal here tonight. So it's going to be 3 minutes apiece. Officially, this is not part of your application. So that both, the good news is you can do anything you want. The bad news is even if it's great, it's not officially part of the application process, but it really brings great energy to the town and to the broadcast and to council. No council here today, but I know they'll
be watching.
They'll be looking closely at the applications, as they always do. All right. If you have some technology thing, James will be running this too. We welcome Carl Almadina. He's our assistant city manager. Used to be the liaison for the Arts Commission, so he's an expert. Thank you for being here, Carl.
I just know the city council's at the League of California Cities Conference in Long Beach with our city manager, Ben Harvey. That's right.
Yes, excused absence. I got Andy's apology, and he said he would watch the recording of this afterwards. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is go sort of in order that you guys arrived. And you have 3 minutes officially, but if at your buzzer, I'll let you finish your thought or something like that. And then the public isn't really allowed to answer, but any of the commissioners may have a question for you after you give your presentation. So thank you for applying. I'm going to start with Dance Ojai. You guys didn't put your names here, but I'm sure you'll introduce yourselves. Isha?
We'll introduce ourselves. Okay, are we on? Okay. Greetings, and thank you for allowing us the time to present our project, the Ojai World Dance Festival for 2025. My name is Isha, and I am the founder of the nonprofit Dance Ojai. Joining me are our board and community members. Slide 2, please. We have been active in Ojai since 2015 and have hosted and curated countless events, performances, and classes that have brought cultural appreciation and delightful dance services to the community. Next slide, please. We launched our project, the first Ojai World Dance Festival, in April of this year. It was an immensely successful event. At Libby Bowl, we welcomed almost 1,000 audience members with the help of 40 volunteers and hosted around 165 dancers from 15 troops. We are seeking city support via grant funding to expand the festival and its offerings in 2025. I'll turn it over to my team member, Carrie.
Hi. Our next slide. Our main project goals to achieve in producing the Ojai World Dance Festival are: number one, enhancement of the cultural richness and diversity of Ojai. Number two, the support of local multicultural performing artists, offering them a professional platform to celebrate their traditions. And three, establishing a new addition and tradition to Ojai's artistic landscape. Number four, drawing in people from all of Southern California to enjoy and increase appreciation for the multicultural arts and our wonderful town. Now I'll turn it over to Ishel.
Next slide, please. Our 2025 festival will evolve into a full-day celebration, inviting not only diverse dance troupes, but also a variety of multicultural vendors, artisans, musicians, and food vendors to create a unique and enriching experience. The festival will culminate in a grand evening production at Libby Bowl, showcasing dance troupes that have made significant contributions to their communities through their art and demonstrated excellence in their respective dance traditions. We aim to secure more substantial grant funding to appropriately compensate our staff as well as our participating dance troupes in our 2025 festival. Now I'll turn it over to team member Paulina.
Next slide, please. Hello. The Ojai World Dance Festival offers a wide range of benefits for the various stakeholders. Participating artists and troupes will benefit from a fantastic platform to showcase their work and also receive compensation for and support for their work. Huzzah. The festival will stimulate the local economy by attracting visitors who will dine at local restaurants and shop at the local stores. Attendees will benefit from the exposure to global traditions, providing a rare educational opportunity to deepen the appreciation for the multicultural arts. Long-term, it will strengthen the city of Ojai's cultural landscape, making it more vibrant and inclusive place for residents and visitors alike.
Take your time. Take your time, Paula. It's okay. Just
Dance arts
with feeling, okay.
Okay. Sorry, I was feeling it. I'm going to now turn it over to my teammate, Teresa.
It'll be really quick. So our budget for our 2025 festival is nearing $60,000, and we're requesting a $10,000 grant from the Art Commission and the City of Ojai. Our festival date is set for Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, and we'll hope you'll join us. And thank you so much for everything you do and all of your support. And we know last year was awesome because of you guys, so thank you so much.
We're going to go dance now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I guess we could ask questions, but they can't answer them because they're gone.
Any questions?
No questions, please.
No? Okay. Because I'm all right. I have a minute.
You guys were, no, I was just, I was
Thank
making,
you.
I was
Congratulations
making
on a fabulous event this
Thank
year.
you.
It was,
Thank
yeah.
you for coming.
It was really cool. Thank you, Dan. So, hi. Secondly, Marilyn from the Ojai Community Chorus. Marilyn McCandless is.
Good evening, members of the commission. And I apologize when you made the comment about us going first. I'm not feeling well, so I asked to go first. Anyway, my name is Marilyn McCandless. I'm the president of the Ojai Community Chorus. You may have heard of us. We've been in Ojai since 1987, founded by Phil Harvey, who was a national a treasure for Ojai, who's now in heaven watching down on us and still guiding us along. We have been the only nonstop singing organization in the Ojai Valley, except for our 3-year hiatus due to COVID. Since 1987, we put on 2 concert weekends a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. And that 3-year hiatus, in which we could not perform due to COVID, really set us back financially. We weren't able to raise funds during that time. So when we came back into operations again last December, we were financially pretty strapped. And so we are gradually trying to come back from that financial debacle as it was for us anyway. We have a program coming up in December 7th and 8th. We invite any members of the commission to join us. Smitty will be there, so you'll know him. He's our technician. And if you are interested in coming to the concert, please let Smitty know, and we will get tickets to you as our guests. Please join us. We're asking for funds for our concert weekends for the year 2025. Again, a spring and a winter concert. It costs us anywhere from $12,000 to $14,000 to put on one weekend. So times 2, that's close to $25,000 a year. Even though we sell tickets, have bake sales, do all sorts of things, it brings in small change. And so we really need your financial assistance to be able to get over and bridge those gaps and to try to establish a nest egg in the bank in case we need it. We must pay fees to the Methodist Church where we rehearse and perform, and their fees go up every year. They're a small community, and we're one of the ways that they earn money, and we're happy to be there at their church, and we're happy to pay their fees to help them out. We also need to carry an insurance policy, and as you know, insurance rates go up every single year, and as ours has done as well. So that is an expense for us. We are trying to bring up the fees that we pay to musicians and technicians and our director and other staff, consistent with what other people and musicians in Ojai are paid. We've been way behind for a long time, and gradually we're able to improve that. So we continuously want to be able to do that. Our director, Connie Woodson, has been with us as director for over 20 years. She comes to us from Studio City and drives here every week. And while we pay her a salary, we would also like to improve her salary as well. Please help us out financially. And again, please join us at one of our concerts and you'll see why. We've been here for 35 years. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Connie.
Any questions?
Thank you. No, what I'm going to try to do, I have a few things I'll just add, and I want to just mention group singing is one of the oldest arts that there is, and next is going to be Kevin Wallace. In case you could, Marilyn, you could stay for just just while I say group singing. I want everyone to understand that I'm glad that this community has begun to see that your Arts Commission is recognizing all of the arts. The visual arts have been the kind of the loudest and the most obvious very often in the city and with our public art programs and everything. But music, including group singing, literary, poetry, film, dance. We have all of you guys here tonight, and I'm just so pleased to have such a broad spectrum of the arts presented. And group singing is just one of my favorites. So thank you guys for decades of keeping this together.
Thank you for that, Smitty. I appreciate it. Thank you to all of you.
All right, thank you, Marilyn. Beatrice Woods, Center for the Arts. We have Kevin Wallace here tonight. Thank you, Kevin, for being here.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to come here and speak to you all. I was brought in by the Happy Valley Foundation in 2005 to create the Beatrice Woods Center for the Arts. At that time, there was a small amount of seed money, and I said that I would raise all the funds to keep it alive. We're going on 2 decades, and although there were many years where most years where we sort of squeaked by, we are still here and we're still serving the local community. We are an organization that supports the local community. For instance, this weekend, or not this weekend, but currently we have 2 exhibitions. One is the Ventura County Potters Guild, one is the Ventura County Hand Weavers and Spinners Guild. Both of them have Ojai residents in them. Our first exhibition of the year is Ojai Studio Artists, and the next 2 weekends we'll be having workshops being led by Ojai artists. So supporting the center is a way of supporting the community. I have asked for a grant of $2,500. We currently have a matching funds grant, so I can turn that into $5,000. An important part of why I'd like to get this grant, aside from the fact that we need the money, is that I need people to know that we need the money. A lot of people seem to believe that either we were left a giant endowment or that we have a board of multimillionaires to fund us. And the fact is, it's on me. and those who choose to support us. So I'm hoping that I will be able to add to our upcoming events, supported in part by the Ojai Arts Commission, or the City of Ojai, however that should be worded. And that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions for me.
If you look to your right,
Yeah, there she is.
there's Beatrice's little piece
She's-
that we have
she-
here.
She's
So-
everywhere. You know,
Yes.
the other thing I wanted to comment on, which is interesting, when we started the center in 2005, you could walk into any shop on the arcade and say, do you know where Beatrice Wood lives or where this Beatrice Wood Center is? And people would know. Today, I'm told constantly, you can walk into a store and they're like, who? So we really need more promotion, and I'm doing everything I can on my part, but I'm hoping a grant from you folks will help with that promotion.
All right. Thank you for being
Thank
here,
you all so
Kevin.
much.
Thank you for pointing out. I'm really glad you're here because even if the amount of grants that we give, it's $30,000. For years, it was only $10,000 or around $12,000 during the tenure. Well, I've been here. We've been able to push it up to about 30, but we asked for 40 this year and did not get that. So it's important for the community to see and for the council to see, because we serve the council, that there is a need in this city, and there's no better way of giving this back than through the creative arts. And we're going to do Rosie, David, and Hannah with the method machine next. Do they have anything? No, okay.
Hello, thank you guys for having us. My name is Rosie Gordon. This is David Henderson. We are the co-artistic directors and founders of Method Machine Lab. We have, with Kim Maxwell's blessing and mentorship, taken over the Kim Maxwell space to create a new theater space. I grew up in Ojai. I took classes with Kim. I did the Ojai Shakespeare Festival intern program for about 6 years, and it changed my life. I went off, I did other things, and I came back to Ojai to do theater. It was inevitable. So I'm going to let David talk about what we're asking for.
So we offer, so far we've offered classes for adults, and we'd like to expand that to kids and high school groups. And what we're looking for is scholarship funds so that we can help students who may not have all the resources to participate in the classes that we are going to offer. We are new. We just started in January, but we've now offered 2 different classes. We are, we're also doing some theater stuff. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, apparently.
That's okay. That's okay. He is a director and writer. He's not a performer.
I'm not a speaker. Our mission is to present daring, relevant, and illuminating experiments in performance. And we want to continue that through our education program, working with, the future of the theater and the arts is in the kids, and we want to be a part of that. And we want to pass along our knowledge and our experience and our passion for small theater through our education program.
The theater that I did, I got into theater in Ojai because Charlotte Bronstein met me when I was a very precocious child and said, you should do something with her. And it changed my life. It really did. And so I see a lack of that in Ojai. I see groups trying to bridge the gaps and do things. But I do think that there's room for smaller, individualized classes for kids and teens in this town. So.
And we did bring along one of our students who was the benefit of our scholarship in the past, a 50% scholarship.
Tell them how great we are, Hannah.
Hello, my name is Hannah. I am a former student of one of David's classes where I was offered a scholarship, and we can't ignore economic constraints, especially for artists in our community, young to old. It's so hard to afford classes and further education and opportunities to pursue what we love. And being offered something like that is invaluable, especially in a community that fosters yourself to succeed and fail and push yourself, and a room with people that just adore what you're doing and creating beautiful art. And so to be in this community is very special.
Perfect timing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Please, go ahead.
Well, I was curious, how much are you asking for?
We're asking for $3,000.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question. How do you determine who's eligible for a scholarship?
Well, we haven't, we don't have a process for that yet, but we would probably do an application. A very simple application, you know, we're not asking for people to open up their taxes or anything like that.
I mean, it would be
Simpler than ours.
Yes, much simpler.
It would be something somebody saying, you know, I know a kid who wants to do it, but, you know, I don't know if they can afford it. Or a family coming to us and saying, we really want to do this, but we can't afford it. To some degree, it is sort of an honor system. I'm assuming that you're telling us that you want to be a part of this, but can't afford it, and that's the truth, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Ojai studio artists next. Do they have anything? Linda, did you bring a presentation? Any slides or anything?
I brought the brochures. You see
Okay.
the brochures
Okay,
on
good.
the table there?
The reason I'm asking this is because he needs a little time loading some things, and I have some comments I'll save when he's loading them, but I won't have them then. Ojai studio artists, you're coming off a hangover here, huh?
I do. I have a definite hangover. Thank you all for volunteering for this thankless job. I know you spend a lot of time, and that's really much appreciated by all of us.
Yeah.
And also thank you for giving us grant money last year. We really appreciate it. We really needed it. And obviously we have situations going on in Ojai that are beyond our control. The city tenor is changing. We've lost some of our main galleries. Primavera is no longer here. Human Arts is not here. The Nomad Gallery is not here. So these are really important venues for artists to be able to show their work, and they did show local artists' work. The OSA tour is really important because we do bring people into town who are interested in the arts. In the past, Ojai was really known as an art city, and because of the huge number of artists that live here, both performing and visual artists. And I think that that's still the case, and the studio tour really helps with that perception, because we are opening, this year we opened about, I think it was 63 studios were open to the public. People were able to come and look at the studio space. My first studio tour was in the early 80s when we were first beginning, the group was first beginning, and I lived in Oakview. I had an etching press in my living room with all the tables and the mess and everything like that, until my son finally said, "Mom, when are we going to have a real living room?" So it's really important for people to be able to see how the creative space evolves, and to be able to talk to artists and see their path. How did you get to this point? How did you arrive at doing what you're doing? Where did you go to school? Where do you get your supplies? And for me, I always have student volunteers coming in demonstrating various printmaking processes. My two volunteers, Daisy and Vera, came for Saturday, and then they decided they were having so much fun they came back on Sunday and demonstrated 2 different printmaking techniques both days. Our artists go into the classrooms, the art classrooms. They give presentations about their work. They also give information about how they got to where they are, where they went to school, how they support themselves, and I think that's a really important thing, because many people do not consider any art profession a profession. They see it as a hobby, and we're trying really hard to change that perception. That's one of the really important educational facets of the Ojai Studio Tour. So. Last year we got a small grant from the city. We're hoping for $5,000 this year. The money will be used for publicity. We have a lot of us are not able to do a lot of the activities, the tech and the digital stuff that needs to be done in order to create the publicity. Fortunately, we have Julie Grist, who is our tech maven. Without her, we would be lost. And anyway, we're needing more and more assistance financially. We do have some other people in our group that we could pay, but because we're a nonprofit, they're not allowed to be paid by a nonprofit that they belong to. So the funds will be used for that, to continue to put on the studio tour, hopefully continue the success.
Thank you, Linda. I'm going to take a moment to use you as an example that was helpful. Ojai Studio Artists, 63, and the great majority of them are not in the actual physical political boundaries of the city of Ojai. Your commission this in the last year spent some time lobbying with council, and we got them to recognize. You may notice that we're offering our the grants are being offered not just within the city of Ojai. We've spent some time lobbying with the council to get them to recognize that is more than anything else in this valley. We need to recognize that our arts community is the entire valley. So the requirements for the arts commissioners are no longer that they have to be from the city, and additionally, we open our grants outside that as well.
Thank you.
I used you as an example to show that so many of our artist studios were not in the city limits, and there's reasons for that go beyond the extent of what arts has to do with their cost of living and what it takes to be an artist in this community. I'll take this time. Thank you. Question. We have a question. Yes.
Well, no, go ahead. I have a comment. So go ahead.
Thank you, Linda. I was wondering if you could share with us how much the OSA tour raised in scholarships for Nordhoff. I noticed touring
For this,
that everybody was
this
selling.
year, we came we charged $20 a ticket this year, which was the first time since COVID that we've been charging, and I think we're pretty close to $10,000 for our scholarship fund.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one other thing I forgot to mention, we're partnering with the Ojai Unified School District in their career technical education program. So we're mentoring students. There's, I think, more than half of our group signed up to be mentors. So,
wow, thank you.
Commissioner Steiner?
Thank you. I have a comment. So I attended the tour and enjoyed it very much. Thank you. And I just wanted to comment on your comment about how the tour expands the audience. And I noted in a number of studios that people coming through would say, oh, we're from Santa Barbara, we're from New York, we're from Laguna, that there were quite a number of people here in this town spending money, doing other things, and enjoying art. So congratulations to you.
yeah, that's part of our goal. Thank you.
And in my comment, I'm intimately familiar with OSA, is how much this tour does for people in terms of connecting. It's not, people have a misconception that it's all about the artist selling, but it's really about the artist serving the community, because we show people, we bring them into our homes, we show them what we do, and that's an education right there. And the networking of the artists in the Valley and the camaraderie between all the members, it expands out. So, and especially the service we're doing in the schools. So.
Okay, thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
If I could, Chair West.
Yes.
All the presentations except one have gone over since we're past public comment. If you want to take a vote to extend it to 5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
I move that wouldn't include your questions or comments. Just for the
let's keep it at 3, and then it's
Okay.
supposed to be a question session.
So the beep doesn't interrupt them.
It's unfair to the ones that went earlier, I think.
No, they got their times over 3 minutes though.
Yes. So suggest we move to 5?
If you
I see,
do
because everyone's
5,
had
it's not
5.
going to have a beep in the middle of the
Okay.
presentation.
All in favor? Yes. All right, so we'll go to 5. I'm the one that's talking the most. I'm all excited. Let me, before Ovate, Susan and Jolene, while they come up, I will mention that tomorrow I'm applying a letter of intention to apply for a grant from the state. We've established a relationship with the county now, who has a grants, a arts and culture division, and they've been very helpful with us, seeing how best practices in other parts of the state are going on right now. So we're going to apply for a grant to assess the economic impact of what the arts and the other creative activities are in this city. And I think we're going to find that connecting you guys, connecting the artists, connect the people that are involved in the creative parts of the city are going to solve a lot of the problems, all right? And can get focus on what's important, whether, in our housing, in our homeless community, in our education, how we can pool what we already have here together. I think we can give a lot of direction. So if anyone is interested in being part of that assessment of the creative arts impact to our city, just let me know. Susan and Jolene.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you, James, for executing this. You can go ahead and roll film.
Roll film. Hit it.
Go. I'm Jolene Ray Harrington.
And I'm Susan Collegian, and we are co-artistic directors of OVATE, which is the Ojai Valley Artist Theater Ensemble.
Although we are expanding our platform now to include audio, and thank you last year, that project is rolling, and we appreciate your help with that. And now, film. Who
Yeah.
knew?
Well, simply we're just storytellers.
That's right. We've actually been a registered nonprofit here in Ojai since 2018. Has it been that long?
Yeah.
And through that time, we've been able to host things like the Muse of Fire Teen Conservatory, which was something that those guys were talking about at Method, which we fully support. We think that's awesome. A number of other productions. And now we're venturing into our current project, which is a short documentary called Who Will Carry the Water? The Making of the Furious Collaborative Project. And this film is going to show how a group of really committed Ojai performance artists created an activist, devised theater production that explored the timeless oppression of women as well as their path toward healing. We staged the show back in March of 2023 at the Ojai Women's Club. Thank you.
Quick shout out to Ojai for all who went. We had standing ovations, sold out every night, waiting list, made money, gave it back to the community. Thank you,
That's
thank
right. It was really, really one of those wonderful cycles.
Okay,
right?
hurry up.
Hurry up. Okay. The slideshow that you're seeing is a lyric video for the theme song, both for the live show and for our documentary called Who Will Carry the Water? Susan asked a certain local songwriter named Eric Harrington, and he created that song for us. But it was a really powerful metaphor that is challenging communities to come together in order to solve important social issues, and hopefully using the arts to do so. For us, our issue was misogyny, but every community is going to have their own fury. They're going to have, and we hope that our documentary serves as a template for them to create their own devised theater experience.
If you don't know what devised theater is, it's a way of collaborating to create a piece with a central theme. So we had all these people in the community collaborate on, and we wrote for 3 months. And then I edited the script, it came together, and some of it you're seeing right there.
Susan, you really are a visionary, and I can say that right to your face.
Thank you, even with my new glasses.
She came up with this original concept for Furious. And the show moved through time and space, combined songs, dance, conceptual movement, classical text, and of course that original text that our cast and crew created. And we hope that this documentary is going to kind of pull the curtain back on that process and show that we are a process-oriented theater company. We provide actor training in our rehearsals. We incorporate dramaturgy, text analysis. We use Susan's immersive staging, which removes any barrier between the performers and the audience.
And the power of closing every performance with an audience, talk back. So we had a talk back and a Q&A every night, so the community was engaged with that. And that lasted almost as long as the show and almost as long as what we're doing right now.
It was a really important part of what we did, and we want to show that via this documentary. And we knew from the beginning when we started brainstorming this project that we wanted to make a film that documented Furious so that we could then share our message and encourage others to do what we did and take an artistic risk.
Right.
Yeah.
So as an example, we have a sister company in Kiev, Ukraine, and they've been performing theater all through the war. And so we're going to use some of their footage from their basement theater that keeps going because they've been under so much stress, obvious.
And this is a way for them to channel their fear into something really creative. And we believe art heals, and this is a way for them to maintain their mental health. During our own development process, we were shadowed by a filmmaker who captured our ups and downs, got behind the scenes footage, and really covered some of those challenges.
And the extreme stress and hilarity.
And hilarity, but a lot of stress.
And we were able to come to find solutions, support each other, help the community.
Which is really another thing we want to model. So with the support, again, of the Ojai Arts Commission, we will complete our documentary. We will send our message out into the world via film festivals, international film festivals, and maybe even public television.
I don't know.
We
maybe.
could.
Yeah.
And this is going to also serve to enhance Ojai's reputation, both as a place of healing and as an arts innovator.
Yeah. Ojai's mission is
Ovate's mission and Ojai's mission.
Okay, Ovate. Yeah.
Ojai, Ovate, same thing.
That's what I do.
Okay.
Ovate's mission is transformational theater for the community, and we hope our documentary will inspire others to make art that matters. And when we win the Academy Award for Best Short Documentary, we will be given a shout out to the Ojai Arts Commission. You betcha.
No, we will. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you, guys.
How much are you asking for?
I think the number was $3,490. We have a $10,000 budget. We are really good at getting a lot of shit done for very little money. Stuff done. Sorry, family hour.
And we've raised some money.
And we've raised some money, and we've got a lot of people that really were so passionate about our message that they donated their services during the show, during the documentary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any others?
Thank you, guys. Film Society is coming up. Next. Nicholas.
Hello.
Weissman.
I think we have some slides.
Okay. We'll take a second and get that loaded.
How are you all?
Great.
Good. Good.
Congratulations on another successful year.
Thank you. We're really proud. We love doing this, and it's been a really great 3 years so far. We hope to keep it going. Good evening, Council. My name is Nicholas Wiseman. I'm the Vice President of the Ojai Film Society, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the screenings we do and our most recent summer series at Libby Bowl. Next slide. As you may know, the Ojai Film Society was founded in 1988 with the mission of presenting quality, independent, foreign, documentary, and critically acclaimed and classic films to the Ojai Valley community. 3 years ago, coming out of the pandemic, we decided to bring this mission outdoors so we could all come together and enjoy cinema together. Next slide. We are a volunteer-run nonprofit that offers free film screenings over 6 Fridays during the summer to the Ojai and surrounding communities. We've been lucky enough to work with the city, who has generously lent us the Libby Bowl for our summer program. Next slide. And we just wrapped up our 3rd annual summer series where we screened 6 films: Stop Making Sense, Back to the Future, Next Goal Wins, Wizard of Oz, Maya and the Wave, and In the Heights. These screenings had an overall attendance, an average of 700 to 1,000 people each, with a total of 5,000 plus RSVPs across the season, which was a wonderful turnout and has increased over the past 3 years. Next slide. In our first 3 years, we have now had 10,000 RSVPs to these screenings across 17 films, many of which are part of our recurring local audience, as well as communities outside of Ojai. Next slide. Sorry, I got to follow my prompts. The response from the community has been powerful and heartwarming for our board, and I wanted to share the short write-up that was in the Ojai Valley News by Joanne Englander, and it reads, and I'm paraphrasing a bit: Ojai Film Society awakens joy. The Ojai Film Society graced our community with the film in Libby Bowl. They invited us to dance, and for the first time in years, Ojai was transported into a place of joyful, exuberant dancing, bodies and bodies close, waving arms and legs, jumping, twirling, reminiscent of our dancing years at the bowl. We need this outlet for our hearts and souls. Remember when we were packed like sardines below the stage, swaying young and old alike, magic moments, a few hours of joy, reawakened, sorry, I'm emotional because this was very powerful for us, reawakened by the Film Society. Next time, may we invite them to dance with us. Very sweet. Next slide. So this year we piloted a new program to engage local artists, and as part of our pre-screening experience, we invited the Moon Valley Choir, the Ojai and the Ukulele Club to perform, furthering our commitment to enlisting our community to participate. Next slide. We intend to grow our pre-screening program next year, enlisting local visual artists and local filmmakers to submit work to be featured before each screening. Short films, as well as experimental, any number of visual artists in the community can participate. Next slide. A grant from the Arts Commission would help support our 2025 summer series, as well as allow us to offer a stipend to local artists and filmmakers that perform and/or screen their short films. Additionally, a portion of the funds would go towards travel costs for featured filmmakers to attend these screenings in person. Next slide. We are an entirely volunteer and dedicated board, and our mission will continue to evolve and expand into the future as we plan for our 2025 series. Next slide. And we are just grateful for the support from the community and especially to the city for allowing us a great venue to share and enjoy these films together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Any questions?
The same question I had before. How much are you asking for?
We're asking for $6,000, which we have 6 screenings across the summer. So it would partially be for the film, for the presentations as well as the short films, and then the rest would go towards our overall budget for the season.
And that's the same amount you asked for last year, and actually the same amount this commission recommended that you receive.
Correct.
Though you did not, so we
Made it
look
work.
forward to.
We will always make it work, but we
Yes.
appreciate the help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Sven with Creative Hearts Healing. While Sven comes up, I did want to point out Commissioner Grau here. We have a 5-year plan, and it is, part of education is to connect artists and artist professionals. We got the city to spend a little money on us, Pamela's direction for doing our education seminars for artists. Last year we did at the museum free of charge to the arts professional community, seminars on copyrights, grant applications, and we did one on estate planning too that Commissioner Steiner did as well. And we also have a mentor program as part of our 5-year plan to connect, because I know a lot of you guys would love to connect with young people and show them what it's really like to be an artist in this town. And so we'll be talking about and putting some form on that later in tonight's meeting as well. So if anyone's interested in you should participate in the education seminars. That's what drives our creative economy, to make you guys better business people as well. And you should care about the future, and no better way to show that than to consider being a mentor as well.
Talk to me.
Check with any of your commissioners, and
I'm saying ongoing, is there a message sent out?
yes.
But they're advertised.
Yes.
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 And you'll be seeing more soon.
You'll be seeing more, yeah.
And one of the things we intend to do is get better in terms of technology and websites and information and
That's part of our
hubs
plan
and-
too. So please, we have a lot of committees that we've created now, that the commission has created here, that we need your participation in to make them more relevant and impactful to the community as well. Sven, what you got going this year?
That was a great introduction to my application here. May have been intentional or not. I'm Sven Shelgren, and my life partner Bonnie Rose and I are applying for the first time for grant support as individual artists working together within our unofficial banner of Creative Hearts Healing to create and host mentor intern workshops in art therapy, graphics, and constructive use of media. We'll align mentors like ourselves in art and media with high school, college, and postgraduate students and youth in search of employment and enrichment once a month at our home in Miramonte and other appropriate art-themed locations around the valley. We anticipate hosting between 6 to 12 youth and 2 to 6 mentors in each 3-hour monthly session. Individual and group activities and support will be offered, and attendance at a series of sessions will be encouraged when appropriate. youth in search of career development, inspiration, education, and training will benefit. Sessions will include pathways to experimentation and can potentially lead to hands-on volunteer intern work experience in our local Ojai Valley Arts and Media. We'll expand on collaborations I've already got underway with Flourish Ojai, the Ojai Arts Center, all 8 branches, the Ojai Film Festival, and OPAT, as well as exploring connections I've started with Thatcher, Besant Hill, Valley Oaks Charter, and the OUSD network of students, alumni, and other staff, faculty. We'd also like to reach out to the music festival, the tennis tournament, the Libby Bowl concert series for any other additional learning and training relationships that we can help foster. Our goal is to take advantage of adult and elder wisdom to create new training connections that are largely untapped currently to help our youth who are struggling to find employment, mainly to gain confidence and exposure to skills and trades and uses for their talent and interests, to help them find creative entrance into the globally expanding world of art and media that's going on right now. We're not asking for a lot of money. In fact, the money is not important. It's the recognition of the Arts Commission that we're really looking for to help us authenticate our support for the Valley. Any questions?
Can I make a
Thank you,
comment?
Sven.
Sure.
Yes,
I would like
yeah.
to have you on my committee. I have a committee that I've just formed for mentorships throughout the Valley, and my whole platform is how to connect the youth with the different arms of creativity in this Valley.
And I would love that. I'm
Okay.
already connected to mentor relationships throughout the Valley. So
Great.
that
Let's
would be
talk.
great. Let's talk.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
First, how much are you asking for? It seems to
We-
be my
we
constant
put-
question.
We put 4,000 on the application, but 2,000 is really what we'd be looking for. And honestly, knowing the limited funds, we're really more interested in the recognition of the commission.
So I've got a question. You are 2 individuals doing essentially what's organization-related activities. Have you considered incorporating?
Yeah, I have a dormant nonprofit called the Mental Foundation. I have 3 different production companies. I'm a filmmaker. My life partner is a therapist and a painter. We have thought about incorporating, and we may do that at some point. We've also got nonprofit avenues that we can explore. This will kind of put us on the map and create those conversations and decisions.
And in terms of your current structure, do you have insurance for what you're doing?
Yes, I have production insurance, and she has liability insurance for her work as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sven.
Anything else?
Ojai Valley Museum is coming up next. Wendy? I'll give a little call out here to Karina Wright, Commissioner on my right, on my far right here. Karina's one of our newest commissioners. She is actually the chair of our committee that's doing the grants, and I want to do we're using people from the community, actually, the experts in grants as part of our commission. So I want to get a quick, just call out, Karina is someone you may hear from. Nigel Chisholm, a past chair, Sammy Zaringer, past commissioner, Julie Grist, arts community member here, is present tonight, Brett Bradigan are all on our ad hoc committee that will be scouring your your applications. And so I just wanted to put a name with a face at Karina here too. Hi, Wendy.
Hello. So I'm here to talk about giant puppets. You might not know, I didn't know that puppetry is really has renewed interest, especially with younger adults and families. We found that out when we brought the Bob Baker Puppet Theater to an event, and a lot going on with puppets. In 2019, the commission funded, not the museum, funded the Ojai Independence Day Parade Committee to have different organizations make better floats or things for the parade. And as part of that, we were recruited to make a float, which we did. I think it was $500 of the bigger grant that we got. We made a big float. It was Chief Peak. We thought it was really fun. We thought we would keep it and reuse it. We kept it. We never reused it. And part of it was storage was really tough. And we had to borrow a truck and make a big thing, and, you know, it never got used again. So, but since then, we have completely stepped up the amount of work and time and creativity that we are putting into our parade entry every year. We've won first place 3 years in a row in our division. Woohoo! And so if you go to the next picture, this is our parade float this year. This was a walking dragon. And it was really cool. Dennis Shives helped us make it, but heavy, hard to keep. The head is on a wheelbarrow. I moved that wheelbarrow myself a few times, and I could not hardly see over it. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll see the back. The tail was 11.5 feet long. Like, we just don't have the storage space for that at all. And so we would like to make, not only for ourselves, but also for any other organization, a giant puppet. So if you go to the next slide, we want to, these are some that were made by local people. The little owl, colorful owl, was made at the library. Also part of that 2019, we've used it, we've borrowed it, we've used it at the museum at least twice, 2 or 3 times for events. And so by making giant puppets for us and other groups, we feel that we would use it not only for the parade, it could be used at Ojai Day, it could be chamber mixers, it could be a theater production. I'd love to see a school make a mascot. But these were all ones that have been made locally and used locally. The big fire dog that was used at the museum for an exhibit after the fire. So they're big, they're impressive but hard to store. If you go to the next slide, something like this, way easier to store because you can take them apart, you can lay them down, and I'll just tell you, you guys know our site. We have a small museum, you know, in terms of storage space, but we have a choir loft that nobody goes up to. So if it's something that I can lay down up there, we can do it. Here's some other suggestions, the next slide. You know, big birds, it's a big street, and to make a big, to get people excited on the street, you really have to have something big. And again, we want to bring in a professional giant puppet maker to do workshops that might be over a weekend, might be, you know, every Saturday for a few weeks. We would definitely make 1 or 2. We hope that other organizations and groups would also make them. These are really cool. Go to the next slide. Could even be something like this. So we haven't decided what we would make. We've been in talks with a couple of different giant puppet makers who could lead workshops for it. This is a community with so many artistic people. We have a fabulous parade, but I've heard a lot about, you know, people don't do the same kind of floats that they used to do. Part of it is storage. Part of it is a lot of different things. But for me and the museum, I think if we could do giant puppets that we could store easy, that other people could store, I think it would be amazing. I think our parade would be better, and I think all of these other events that we have around the community. And I forgot to mention that big dragon, we used it at an event after the 4th of July. We had a summer Fantasia party, and it was a big part of that event. And so puppets can be used in other ways. So that's it. Any questions? I know. I thought I was going to be 3 minutes.
My question,
Sure.
how much are you asking for?
We're asking for $5,000, and most of that is going to go to the person or persons that are
Who
running
conduct
the
the
workshop.
workshop? Yeah, thank you.
Wendy?
Yes.
Would other art organizations in town or other organizations be invited to come participate?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I could
as
see
many
that
as
be a
want
wonderful
to-
way to bring us all together.
Yeah, and the more puppets that are made, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes. Puppetry.
All right.
It's on the list, man. What a diverse community we have of different artists on this. And thank you, Wendy, and the museum for hosting our educational seminars. And also, the council doesn't meet in here anymore, the city council. They meet over in Kent Hall. I don't know if you've been over there. I would like to introduce, he's not here, but David Leeds. David and Kathy Leeds are prominent artists in our valley. And David, with the help of Wendy at the museum, we got some beautiful art. So the chamber where the city's people meet now is not this stuffy old, wooden thing, but it's a lively, art-adorned center next door. So thank you for lending us some pieces, it makes it much. I know that council's much happier now. Thank you to David Leeds, our commissioner, who's not here. Next is going to be American Songbook, and we have Jane tonight instead of your boss.
Exactly. I'm the gopher. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jane Roberts. I'm the board of American Songbook Today, a nonprofit started by our founder, Michael Istwanik, who couldn't be here tonight, over 20 years ago when he lived in New York City and was very active in the theater community there. And he eventually took it to Telluride, Colorado, and then Cleveland, and then luckily enough, he moved to Ojai about 6 years ago. And we've been doing concerts, and the mission of the American Songbook Today is to celebrate the songbook, to preserve this musical treasury, and to foster it for future generations through concerts and educational workshops. We've done several different ones lately. Our most recent one was Sondheim a couple of weeks ago, which was very interesting. A lot of people don't realize how many things he did, but that's why we're here. One of the things we do is we have almost all local artists, local singers, that people that have experience, or some that don't. And we've pushed very hard to get local kids from like the high schools and the colleges. But we have had kids from like 14 to 94 who have sung for us, which is great. We are asking this year to help with funding of 2 concerts that are a little bit different than some of the ones we've done before. The first one will be an evening of Oscar-winning songs, and it'll be on Oscar weekend at the Ojai Playhouse. These songs have become standards because they're so recognizable with their melodies and what you remember and what you visualize when you heard it. It's Moon River, The Way We Were, Over the Rainbow, When You Wish Upon a Star, Last Time I Saw Paris, You'll Never Know, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Oh, I could just go on and on and on. My favorite, though, is White Christmas. And our second one will also be a little different. It's going to be Songs for Mothers and Those They Love. And it's going to be held Mother's Day weekend in May, and this will be an interdisciplinary event. But the songs will include Teach Your Children Well by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, You've Got a Friend by Carole King, Children Will Listen from Into the Woods, which we just all were able to see here in town, Ave Maria, John Prine's Hello in There, What the World Needs Now, and many more. And in the lobby in the green room of the Playhouse, there'll be artworks for sale by Ojai Valley artists on the subject of mothers and children. And all the money will go to the artist with no commission to us, but we are giving them an opportunity to show their work. And after that, I would like to invite you to our last concert of this year that we had help with your funding from this year. This will be on November 10th, Sunday at 3 p.m. matinee at the Ojai's Women's Club. And it's going to be Too Marvelous for Words, which is honoring Johnny Mercer, who wrote more standards than any other songwriter. No. So, any questions? 4,000.
Right. What time does that start again? 3 o'clock?
It'll be 3 o'clock.
Okay.
We've usually done evening, but we're trying a matinee this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharmila. Next, Shine a Light Theater. David. Is there another person, or do you have a 3-part name? Oh, there's another car.
This is Sharmila.
Well, I'm sorry, what is your name?
David. Go ahead.
I got David.
Sharmila.
Sharmila.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
I filled out 2 cards.
I see.
Extra
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Shine a Light Theater. Please tell us about your application.
Yes, well, thank you for having us here. We are Shine a Light Theater, a new nonprofit. In 2023, more than 20% of teens have seriously considered suicide. A report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention looking at mental health and suicidal behaviors from 2011 to 2021 indicates that 13% of high school girls had attempted suicide, 30% had seriously considered it. And this is on a personal note, like both of us have had our relatives attempt or consider committing suicide when they were in high school, and luckily they asked for help and got help. So that's a big reason why we're doing this. So rates of teen suicide are up over 50% in the last decade. According to a recent study, feelings of depression and thoughts of suicide are on the rise amongst 8th through 12th graders. In 2018, more than 1 in 3 kids experienced symptoms of depression, and 1 in 5 considered suicide. So our goal is to shine a light on the struggle of depression that many young people are experiencing, and to harness the power of theater as a positive catalyst to help create a healthy discussion after the play with young people who may be struggling with mental health issues. The program that will be brought to high schools in the city and in the county, and our goal is to go beyond, will have 3 parts to it.
So the first part is a play, and the play has a suicide prevention theme in it. It's called The Seat Belt. It takes place in Ventura. It's between a teenage girl who's 17 and her mom, and the girl is struggling with thoughts of suicide. It's a very realistic play. It's very intense, but it has a hopeful message, and it has a message of suicide prevention in the theme of the play. And our goal is that this will open up a dialogue after the kids see the play, which we've already had, where we've done readings with teenagers, and they all say, we relate to this person. And it sort of takes away the stigma of, I don't want to talk about this. It's just like having this performance and having this experience right there then kind of opens up a space for part 2 of this program.
Right, which is the talk back. So the program, directly preceding the play, there will be a Q&A portion between audience members and a mental health professional. We feel that shining a light on this issue in a safe space can open up a healthy dialogue about this subject and help teens struggling with depression. There will also be information shared about local mental health resources.
And part 3, which is our eventual goal, is that we are going to mentor the kids to write their own stories with suicide prevention themes, and work with teachers, English teachers, or they would even write it as a short story at first, and then eventually do it as a staged reading of a play, but something to where they can express this in a healthy way, and it can go on from here beyond this play. That we want, the big idea is that we want to bring the seatbelt to a lot of schools in Ventura, have the talk back, that's kind of part 1, and then eventually move on to mentoring to where these kids are going to write their own stories. And that is it.
Yeah, and so our, I have, that I'd like to submit, the breakdown of the budget. I have the budget in the packet, but here's the breakdown. So we're asking for, I realize what the total budget is, but shoot for the moon, 10,300, and it's about, that comes out to like 2,532 per show, and that's for 4 performances, 2 at Nordhoff in the spring and 2 at Nordhoff in the fall.
And that's basically paying actors for $25 an hour, 30 hours, set person, building the set, all of those things.
Insurance. Yeah.
Yep.
Travel costs. Yeah.
That's 4 performances.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is that James? Wow, important issue. What I like to tell council or anyone will listen to us is arts can solve so many problems and can bring, as a performer, I'm constantly reminding Julia, there's Democrats and Republicans in our audience, and look at them, they're singing together or laughing together and all too. So my little mantra that I've been telling the mayor and council is, I forget the question, but I think arts might be the answer. But I mean, to our tough problems, as well. So, thank you for this diverse application pool. Thank you to all you people tonight.
And we're also casting over 18.
Casting. Casting.
Finallighttheater.org.
Thank you. While the Glasgow Bailey Foundation comes up, I'll do another little speech. Yes. It's only one that's what? Seeing the application. I don't know what to.
It's printed out, so I don't have to say all of this, because I don't think I can in 5 minutes. Can someone make sure that...
While you pass that out, I'm going to do my little speech. But yes, you can. I want to introduce Commissioner Steiner, Christine Steiner to my right. When the Arts Commission was formed, one of the primary duties was things that they did is they put in place the 1% for the arts. I don't know if everyone even talks about this anymore. So any commercial construction or development that's done in the city limits of Ojai, they have to give a percent of their investment to the arts. And they either can put that money in the arts fund, it's a public art fund, or they can commission a piece of work from an artist that goes through procedures that are set into the actual articles and in the law of the city of Ojai. So the art that the city owns, the people own, is our public art, which is about 45 pieces of sculpture in our community. Under Christine's leadership this past year, we've done the first assessment of what we actually have, what the condition it is in, and so we kind of know this now. And so Christine's an internationally recognized art attorney and was very, very familiar with public art and has given us great guidance in terms of assessing this. So I want the artist community to understand that in terms of this fine art anyways, the city also has owns a collection of art which is mainly on display and open to the public here. And we have a few pieces, and then we also have at the Continuing Care Center at the hospital, that's the new fancy place in the back, we have, I think, 30 pieces of art on display there that the city owns as well. And thank you, Christine, for doing that. So that's the 1% for the arts. So when you see your council people, and you know who they are, or your mayor, you tell them, thank you for that. That's important, but it's a great way to invest in our city, is to invest in our artists in our city. So.
Let's let Lila speak.
Yes, I will. But they're all going to leave, and I want them to hear what we can do for them. Hi, Lila.
Hi, I'm Lila Glasso Francese, and I am president of the Carolyn Glasso Bailey Foundation here in Ojai, otherwise known as CGBF. We're also the home of the Ojai Institute, which is our residency program initiative. I am submitting a proposal for a project that we're doing with an artist residency that we're bringing to Ojai. We've had a lot of fun this year collaborating with organizations and artists in the Valley. We collaborate with the Ojai Music Festival and Will Thomas, a local composer, and Peelan Middleton, a local artist, and what came out of that was so extraordinary because people coming into town got to see a little aspect of everything in Ojai with the arts. They got to see something visual, they got to hear the art, they got to see the art. People came into the space and said, oh my God, can I touch it? That was really a huge thing because normally you can't touch and play with the art like we encouraged. But this project coming up is with an artist named Matt Savinsky. And Matt is a multidisciplinary performance artist living in Southern California. He is in residence at CGBF at our initiative, the Ojai Institute. He has an MFA from the University of California, San Diego, and a BFA from Cooper Union in New York. He's the recipient of the 2022 Grants to Artists Award from the Foundation of Contemporary Art in New York. Matt lectures on film and video photographic practices at Cal State Fullerton and CSU Long Beach. So he's created a cool project which involves the Ojai Valley News and the Ojai Valley Museum and our foundation. So he wants to do a project called The Social Climate that will showcase a series of wall works and video productions inspired by research conducted at the Ojai Valley Museum Research Library, utilizing the archive of a century of the Ojai Valley newspaper. The exhibition will juxtapose historical and contemporary perspectives. The wall works will feature hand-drawn reproductions of news items, highlighting significant global events alongside reproductions of clippings from local historian Dave Mason's gossip column, The Social Climate. I don't know who remembers that, but I used to read it. It was so great. These artworks will be displayed on the gallery walls, illustrating the tension between localized gossip and global news coverage. In the gallery's center, 2 vertical looping projections on freestanding screens will depict the sun rising and setting through the front page of the Ojai Valley newspaper, with the images removed in the paper, but it'll be the paper. I do want council members to look up his website. You just put a .com after his name, then you will visually see what that looks like. He's also given test images, I think on page 4, that he took in our board member Jenny Prebar's backyard with the Ojai Valley News of some scenery of Ojai. Okay, so what he has here as being significant to Ojai is that the project looks at the tension between hyper-local perspectives and global events, highlighting how localized narratives can obscure or redefine larger narratives. It aims to elevate Dave Mason's voice as distinctively queer within the context of small-town gossip, offering a unique lens on personal and public histories. Additionally, the work reflects on how people find each other and their elders' work in archives by recreating selections of Mason's work. Matt says, I hope to honor his memory and contribution to those who knew him. So I want to say Matt has provided us with a very detailed budget, and I realize that we are asking for a lot of money in this proposal, but I actually want to encourage our local arts organizations to do that, because the city council will not realize how much money we need for art and how much other towns much smaller than us are paying for art until we all ask for maximum value. So Matt is spending 6 months in the Ojai Valley, and his fee for that is $11,000, which is really, really low. And the rest is all project costs. So I have asked for $23,000. I don't expect to get it, but I want our arts organizations to get used to telling the city what we need. I was in Bentonville, Arkansas, and I went to the public park and I sat in a James Turrell sculpture that I'm sure costs billions of dollars, but the city helped to fund it. And it was phenomenal, and tourists enjoyed great art in a great little town. And I mean, I can see here tonight, there's so many people that want to experience great art, and so we need to get it going here and really let them know how much we really need funds for our projects. So the most you can give us is the best. We are Ojai's public art charity, and we will provide any funds to continue to work with local artists, global artists, worldwide artists, and bring great fine art to the city of Ojai. Thank you.
Thank you, Lila.
Questions?
Excited.
He's really cool. It'll be a cool project, and you might see him filming around town. He will be here actually starting now. Because he teaches at colleges, he often comes up for weekends, and he films down Main Street, he films in the orchards, and he's especially excited about filming when the Pixies are filming. So that'll be part of it.
Lila, thank you for that articulate explanation of the need for funds. We have all been saying this, and this has essentially been Smitty's constant refrain to the mayor and city council. It would be great if you and all of you could, every time you buttonhole a commissioner or the mayor, to say how important the arts are and that we're really starving here. $30,000 is frankly an embarrassment for a city with this embarrassment of riches when it comes to art. So thank
Well,
you.
and I also think Ojai makes a big opportunity, or they make a big request for California to be known as an art town.
Yep.
Then we really have to be an art town, okay?
We have to step up, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you all for your
Thank
time
you.
today.
Thank you.
And
Thank
for
you,
all
Jean.
the people, all the
I know.
art facilitators in this room sharing their ideas. Thank you.
Beautiful. I have the music festival in Taft Gardens. If there's anyone that's not them, that they didn't fill out a blue card. All right. Gina with a music festival.
James, you can just roll while I talk.
No music, though.
No music, though. I can hum a few bars, but I don't think you all want to hear me. Okay. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to talk for the Ojai Music Festival. My name is Gina. I'm the managing director of the music festival, and I'm going to, Lila, what you said. So hold on to your seat when I talk about what we want from the Arts Commission. Before I begin with our grant application, I thought it might be a good opportunity to talk a little bit about the Ojai Music Festival. For those who may not know. We were founded in 1947, and our founder, John Bauer, and conductor Thor Johnson fell in love with Ojai, like many people do, and thought this was a perfect place to have the arts, which is thriving now, but even back then, in 1947, it was still sort of getting there, the valley was still sort of growing, and especially after the rebirth of World War II. So they thought we should have a festival here, similar to the Salzburg Festival. That was sort of their kind of dream. But there were three essential I would say grounding and premises for this music festival. And that one was to always have a blend or intersection of old music and contemporary new music. That the artistic director would get to select a different music director every year to bring vitality and sort of different programming. So we've had everyone from Igor Stravinsky and great composers like Aaron Copland to choreographer Mark Morris, and last year we had Mitsuko Uchida, and before that Rhiannon Giddens. So it just brings this, fullness of music here in the Valley with the Ojai Music Festival music directors. The third, I think, essential thing that we've always thought about is what we want to bring to every festival is that there's a sense of musical discovery and an openness to listening. With that said, we fast forward to now, and in 2025, June 5 to 8, our 79th festival, we're bringing back musician Claire Chase. Claire is no stranger to Ojai. She has performed since, when she's like less than 40 years old. She's like a baby. But she was here in 2015 as a musician and came back subsequently with Peter Sellers and Vijay Iyer. Well, now she gets the reins and she will be music director. And what she is bringing to this coming festival, I think, is more about her vision of reimagination of what music is, reclamation, and rewilding. Those are sort of her themes as music director. And so she's bringing a multi-generational group of musicians, composers, improvisers, and composers/artists. So her voice and I think her vision is expanding sort of what music is. One of the musicians and composers that she's bringing is Susie Ibarra, and this is what the grant application is for. It is for our free morning meditation concert on June 7th with Susie Ibarra, the composer, percussionist, presenting a world premiere here in Ojai. And where we are planning to have this wonderful free event for the community is with our friends, the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy. And as Lila said, and then we've worked with the museum, the Ojai Music Festival, we love being able to collaborate with as many organizations as we can. And the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy is a wonderful partner for us, and they are allowing us to bring music into the Ojai preserves for this free event. And Susie will be using recordings of bird songs along with music that will be performed by Susie as a percussionist, Claire as a flute player, and a sheng player. A sheng is a ancient Chinese instrument. So together with the bird songs and those three musicians, we will have this live performance for the community. our grant application is to help cover and underwrite some of the costs. And like Lila, the total project is $20,000. We are asking for the Arts Commission to underwrite $10,000 of that. That will cover personnel costs, technical requirements, and it's personnel. It's people, which people should be paid. Artists should be paid, period, end of sentence. So anyways, thank you for your time and for all the work that you do. You have wonderful organizations here, and I wish you all best of luck.
Thank you, Jean.
I have brochures.
Could you imagine if another town, let's say in Ventura County, said, oh, let's be like Ojai. Let's have a bowl. Let's have a music festival. Let's have 2,000 artists and arts organizations and we'll be an arts town like Ojai. And we already have this. And we just need to invest in that to connect it. Your Arts Commission, before we do our final Taft Garden one here, your Arts Commission is appointed by the City Council, who were appointed by the people, to be their experts and advice on all things that are art. You know, we're all volunteers. We all want to see, you know, the arts thrive in this community. We're all volunteering to see, can we help government be the instigator of what this connection is with the arts in our community. In bigger communities, there may be a university, there may be a big robber baron donor, there may be a arts center of some type. So we don't have that in Ojai, but boy, do we have depth and width and breadth. And so this is your commission right here is trying to find a way to connect you guys, create a hub. Our relationship then to staff is through our liaison. So I want to thank and recognize James Renger here tonight. James is a liaison is different than having an actual staff member, you know, that's in charge of the arts on the thing. So he's our voice to take the recommendations of the commission and make it work right, make it work with the situation, whatever it is with the city right now. So we just wanted to thank James in front of our artist here because he's an art guy as well.
Thank you, very much appreciated.
But you don't get to speak. Taft Gardens, I have Cassandra here and Jade. Beautiful.
Thank you for having us. I'm Cassandra C. Jones. This is Jade Whitman. We are the Art and Nature Residency at Taft Gardens. This was a program founded in 2020 by me and Jade. And I was the first resident, and now we host between 7 and 8 residents per year by an application process, and I get to choose one invitational. Next slide. This is one of our artists, Stephanie Washburn, hanging her works, one of her works outside, and it was a drawing of clouds where she sliced the paper ever so slightly, where it barely hung together, so the wind and light could move through it. Next slide. Our mission, our structure, residency structure, is to promote Taft Gardens' mission because they are our host. They give us land and structures to have our residency, but they don't fund us. But we promote the mission, which is to preserve, educate, and explore. We offer an equal opportunity. Anyone who's any creative anything can apply. We have absolutely no limitations on who can apply. We want to support the environment and support artists working locally. We only cater to local artists, so anyone in driving distance within Santa Barbara and Ventura County, 80% of our artists are Ojai artists. We provide an easy and free application. I tell everyone who will listen that I will help you with your application if you need help. I will read it. I will help you. If you don't get it, I'll tell you why. I really want people to do the residency, and we really want to chip our way through all the great artists in Ojai. We encourage repeat applicants, so if you don't get it, please apply. If anyone who wants to apply again. And then come to us and talk to us if you're still not getting it. We want to create a Central Coast artist community and network, because if our Ojai artists go and meet the Santa Barbara artists and meet the Ventura artists, then they become a network. And LA doesn't know anything about us. We need to be our own big thing. So we're really trying to promote those connections. We provide art and nature education. We include them in programs we're doing. We get people to come and see them work in their studios. We make, and we're trying to make the artists accessible to our community, which is a really, really big deal. We want people to come and visit the artists. We encourage them to make connections, and then we invite everyone at the end of the year for a big event. And then we have a photographer that documents them. So we're documenting the history, the history in the making. And then we do lots of Skillshare, where these artists, if they get to know each other, then they naturally support each other. Next slide. So our offerings is we have 2 studios. Our larger studio is the Historic Arts Studio. It's kind of a fish tank, so the artist who's in there has to be visual, and they are kind of the curriculum for the Taft Gardens, so garden goers can come and visit them in their studio and see how they're working. Next slide. This is the inside. We redid the walls last year, which was a really big deal. They used to be plaster walls, and now they've got plywood behind them, so you can install big, heavy things on them. Okay, next slide. And this is Jane Mulfinger, who is a Santa Barbara artist working in the studio. It has amazing light. And again, the visitors can come and see what the artists are working on. And even if someone's not in there, you can peek in and see what they've done. Next slide. This is my work. This was from my residency. I do big, large-scale digital works. This is a wallpaper installation that still is hanging in the bathrooms at Taft. Next slide. This is Richard Amend. This is our smaller Proteus studio. Even though it has windows, it's a little bit more private, so this is really appropriate for a filmmaker or a musician or a writer. And this is where we put our 1-month artists. So we have a 9-month program in the bigger studio, and this is our 1-month space. Next slide. This is the interior of that 1-month space. This is Scott Hirsch, who was a resident last year, and he rescored the movie La Jetée as part of his project. And next slide. This is an installation, same space, installation by Sally England, who, next slide, you can see, basically reconstructed these trees into a sculpture. These are the Australian grass trees. Next slide. This is Shelley Bergen. She's a harpist and electronic artist, and she did these incredible performances all over the garden that were just spontaneous, and visitors who came could see her perform. Next slide. And this is the event that we have at the end of the year. The grant that we're asking for, this is really where this money goes. It goes specifically to pay all the people that help put this event on. The first 3 years we did it, the structure is that we have 100 people in the morning. It is a free event, ticketed but free. And then in the evening, we have 100 come for the fundraiser, and it was $100 a ticket, which is no longer sustainable for us. Because you guys gave us a grant last year, we were able to double the free event. So we had 200 people come, and we'd still like to double that. Because it's a ticketed event, people had to get a ticket online, and they clamored for them. It sold out immediately, and it wasn't enough. People were like, so many more people wanted to come, and we couldn't accommodate them because we didn't have the staff to help with parking and all that stuff. And so we have to, we applied, Christine, it's $20,000 we're asking for. That's what we applied for last year. You had recommended that we got $3,500. Of course, we got half of that because of how things shook out last year. But we wanted to apply with that again because we wanted the city council to know what it actually takes to run a program that's supporting as many artists as we are trying to support, and as many people who want to see the art. They desperately want to see the art. People were mad they couldn't come, which was great. And we really want to be able to accommodate every single person that wants to come up and see what the artists have done over the year. Next slide. This is the last one. And so this was the first artist that you saw, Stephanie Washburn, who hung those pieces in the trees. This is a Rebecca Comerford who wrote an opera about those pieces and performed it for one of our fundraisers. So I hope you can support us again.
Thank you, Tess. I was going to ask each of the commissioners to maybe give us, if you'd like to give a statement thanking them. That's the last one I have here.
Does anyone have questions of the art in nature residency, though?
Do you guys?
I guess not. I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I, in my statement, I'll say something about that. Would someone
ahead.
like to go first to the thank
ahead.
you, or to the?
No, you
to-
go.
Okay. Thank you all so much for presenting tonight. I've had the pleasure of seeing all of your applications, and every one of them is extremely worthy and exciting, and it's going to be a very difficult job. And I really appreciate this approach of asking for as much money as you can, because we do have to keep reinforcing this. The total ask on the grants for 19 grants was $204,000. And we have a $30,000 budget. So I encourage all of you, public comments at city council meetings, to just keep letting them know that we need more money, and we will get there slowly. Probably 1 or 2% increments, but let's keep doing it. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to James, and he gets them to me, and we'll keep you posted. Thank you.
And my comment is also a thank you. And I have to say that at times this commission job is unbelievably tedious. At times it is really quite interesting. But I think making decisions among so many worthy applicants is going to be the hardest part of this job. And I just want to say thank you for all you do. It really makes our community sparkle.
Okay. Again, reiterating the thanks. I'd also like to invite each of you who are involved in your own, to contact me personally, and let's see what we can do behind the scenes. The grants are one thing, but we're still art organizations in Ojai, and my job is to find ways to connect us and help all of you. How would we contact you? I'm going to give everyone my personal phone number. No, come up afterwards. It's being recorded.
There is a Ojai Arts Commission website, sort of, that has some of our faces there too. But that's in our plan.
I'm Pamela Grau, and I would be delighted to hear from all of you.
And I want to echo the thanks of my fellow commissioners, and tell you how excited evenings like this do help salve the tedium sometimes from being a commissioner and trying to connect it. But I can think of no better way, for the city to give back to the city than to put in something like this arts grants program. The trick is, they can find, $500,000 for pickleball, but that's something that the community wants. But if they put it in the arts grants in front of the Arts Commission, then you will have fellow artists up here, and you will have fellow artists on our ad hoc committee, and artists applying, because I think we know best how the arts can be supported. If we're an arts city, if they want to call us an arts city, and there isn't a single mention of arts in the master plan, talk to So talk to. I'm not going to go for this 1 or 2%. I want to ask. I checked Simi Valley had $120,000 in their program, but we're an arts city, and we have the resources here. And with our study of what the impact is of the creative arts in our economy, we're going to be able to put some hard figures about the repercussions of making this type of investment in our city, because this is our people, as you see right here. I wanted to thank Cassandra, for example. Just seeing her reminded me that she served on our mural commission. There's a law in Ojai City that to have a mural that has to come before the commission, and we used a mural jury of which that she spearheaded here. So there's opportunities like that also for you artists out there too. So I think the more energy, the more involvement, every time you see your any of the council people or mayor, that you remind them, because they all agree. It's just they get distracted, and they get distracted by louder voices. So let's show them what kind of noise we can make as artists. So. Yeah, we're going to take a short break so we can bid you adieu, or you're welcome to stay. We are.
If anyone wants my phone number, come up and ask me.
We're discussing the mentor program and the public art brochures. So. We're going to move from the presentations. There's no consent items unless someone corrects me on that. And we're, item 6A, public art brochure reprinting. I want to thank staff for getting on this so that we can just get some brochures printed. We have a we have a bid from, well, there's a report summarizing, what's that called?
We do have a staff report on this one. With this, our recommendation is to approve and authorize the spending for 1,000 pamphlets. We have a quote from the previous printer for $636.32. With this could be pulled from two different funds. One is the Arts Communication Fund, which is from the general funding. The other, as this is a public arts tour, this could come from the restricted funds for public art restoration and maintenance to maintain the supply of pamphlets. This was from Custom Printing, which was who provided the previous printing, and also they are also who is providing the printing for the city's communications plan.
Thank you.
I actually don't think under the Public Art Fund. That
Yeah, I'll make a motion, Christine, and I think I'll take care of it. I'm going to move that we approve and authorize the spending for 1,000 pamphlets for the current art brochure that we have from Custom Printing for $636, and the money come out of our regular budget communication funds this year.
I'd like to make a comment on this, though.
Let's get a second and see if there's a second on that.
I'll second.
Okay,
So I want
discussion.
Discussion?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at $636 for 1,000, but $764 for 2,000. So for $100 more, basically, we're getting twice the amount. I mean, personally, I think this is a high bid, but if you're going to spend it,
spend it well.
Spend it well.
Okay, just consider, I would hope that next year's plan is going to have a update of that as well. And
So an updated brochure?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, and I would,
Well, I mean, perhaps, but I'm not sure by next year we will have completed the necessary conservation aspects.
if someone will second, I will amend my motion, my motion to go for 2,000 at $764.70. Second?
I assume we have the money?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I second.
Yeah, and still coming out of the communication budget as well. All right, no more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Aye.
Is that good enough?
So we
Roll
have, we probably should do roll call on this.
Money.
Vice Chair Steiner?
Yes.
Thank you. Chair West?
Yes.
Commissioner Grau?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
4 in favor, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Item 6B, Pamela, talk to us about the seminars first, please.
Okay, hold on
Yes,
one
we'll-
second.
and
So, last year, I met Michael O'Connor, who's a master story writer. He has a speech called a public talk that he calls the elevator speech, which teaches how to present yourself very quickly. You know, it's like when you get in an elevator and you have 2 floors to travel, how can you express quickly who you are and what you do? That's a good skill for any creative in our valley. And I have put him on hold 4 times now where he's agreed to come. I had to cancel. Wendy has given me the date of November 13th at the museum, and he wants to come up and do it, despite all our cancellations. Then Sung-Hee Son is a curator in Los Angeles and has a package talk called Marketing Your Art. And again, our artists, our creatives in town need to know how to get their creativity out there. This is a general talk for all creatives, and she wants $300 as an honorarium to allocate for her time and her travel. So I'm presenting those 2, and I have a date at the museum that she's agreed to. So I would like permission to move ahead with both of those.
Give us a motion, or I can make a motion?
Okay, yes. I make a motion that we pass, we have confirmation that I can book these 2 seminars
And spend,
and spend, well, I'd like to spend $400 because I'd like to give Michael a $100 honorarium. He's
Okay.
willing to do it for free, but he's traveling up from LA and, you know, and gosh, I've put him through so much, so at least $100. I'd like to make a motion for $400 to be spent on my enrichment seminars that will be presented at the Ojai Valley Museum.
I second.
Discussion. Anything, staff? Is that a good motion?
Yes, staff
We have
recommendation.
$400 for spending on the 2.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can, that can be.
Good, as it sits then, all right?
I have a question. Why does it say the $300 honorarium? That was not including Michael's?
We just
That was
changed it
not-
to 4.
Okay, I got
She
it.
requested that
Got
to
it.
come up, and I told her we only usually do 200, you know, if we do an honorarium, which we really have not done. And she wanted 3 because of her travel.
But the motion amended it to 400, so.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, roll call on this?
Roll call. Commissioner Grau,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner or
Yes.
Vice Chair Steiner, and Chairperson West.
Yes.
4-0, 1 absent, 4 in favor. Motion passes.
I'd like to make another comment that's not, thank you all. Wendy at the museum has allotted me 4 slots in the next 12 months.
Great.
So I'm planning these 2, followed by another 2.
Good.
Great.
There's nothing wrong with doing the ones we did before
Fabulous.
again,
No, I
too.
know.
Yeah,
I have
they're
some ideas
important,
if you
okay.
ever
Great.
want to.
Yeah.
Okay, move on to 6C. This is more of a discussion type item, but I'll let Pamela introduce her ideas on the mentorship
Yes.
program.
So I met with Colleen O'Mara, who you met, she's on the board of the Arts Center. We met today, and we have officially, I think, formed a committee that we are hoping to have more people a part of. I think Sven said that he'd like to be on my committee too, to create mentorship program in the Valley, a mentorship program that will be multidisciplinary for writers, for musicians, for actors, for filmmakers, to connect students and budding artists, no matter what their age. Like if somebody was in their 20s or 30s and still wanted a mentor, that we could find people to connect them with. So we're hoping to reinvigorate the Art Center by having them host. This is all based on approval, but she's representing the Art Center at the moment, and I said there needs to be more love at the Art Center. We need to get that re-energized and more creative vibes going on, and a younger set. They need the youth too, and so I'm really excited about this project, and I'm excited about working with Colleen and others in the community.
How can we help you tonight?
Okay, I guess I need approval to form a committee for mentorships.
Okay.
Is
Okay,
that-
I have a couple of other ideas, if you're soliciting
Yeah.
some input too. I would, let's form a mentor committee,
Committee.
ad hoc committee, if you will.
At our next
I
meeting,
think
I'll
it's-
have a list of names to be
Yeah.
on my committee.
Nice, but I think we can make a motion and vote on that tonight too. There needs to be a way to advertise then for mentors, but you'll
Yes.
come back, you'll probably
Well,
come back with that.
I would like to create a budget for
Yeah,
advertising.
yeah.
So
Well, we have a
right now
budget
there's-
in the ed fund for mentorship.
Right.
Where are you falling on, in the past, we've both paid the mentors and the proteges, if you will, or whatever,
Right now,
mentees.
I think it's paying the mentors, possibly. It depends. I mean, that's what we're going to explore in this committee.
Okay.
Whether people need compensation or whether they need rent for a space, you know, or a gathering spot.
Yeah.
Or a presentation, you know, like, if we could get an actor, let's say, to come and talk to a group of students and they meet in the auditorium, do we need to rent that space for that talk? Do we need to advertise for that talk?
Right.
You know, or one-on-one, you know, what kind of support is needed? So I don't know what's needed at the moment. But
Yeah.
I prefer to think that if a student is paid, it's more about allotment for supplies that are needed during the mentorship. I know that Linda Taylor does a lot of mentorships in her studio, and there's supplies used. But I think it's more of, I think it should be more relationship-based, where the mentor wants to do it and the student wants to do it, and they create a relationship, and it's not based on financial.
Well, let me help you craft a motion around forming that committee, because I have all kinds of ideas if I was on the committee, but it'll let your committee do that. So I'll move to allow Pamela to choose and bring a mentor committee of five community members. I don't see any need for any more restriction. 5 community members for advising the commission on our mentorship program.
Okay, that works for me.
Second. Discussion? You want to do it? You want to be on the committee?
I second.
Oh, you want to second, all right.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think we need any more discussion on that. Let's, I love
just quickly, I think it's a great idea. I think that there's a lot to explore here. I'd love to know what the Art Center is going to be providing financially. You know, the structures of mentor programs that I'm familiar with, you know, it's really, you know, a mid-career artist being able to show the ropes to a younger artist. And I don't know that there is a monetary exchange, just putting that out there. So it's,
But we may need the.
unless they're working in their studio. Is that what you're imagining? You don't
I'm
know.
open.
You're open,
But
yeah.
I'm imagining that we may need some money to advertise.
Definitely.
And create awareness of the program to connect the two parties.
Yes.
And the Art Center, in my mind at the moment, it's not a financial gain, it's an opportunity to show up in the community.
Right, and maybe use their website.
Well, the thing is, if that was it, then we might have to compensate. But the thing is, trying to find the generosity in our community and the networking in our community, and like all the people tonight had something to offer. And I'm sure if I could connect them with the right student, or the right mentor with the right student, that's what I want.
Right.
You know, I see my role on this commission as how can we connect? How can I get everybody working to bring the arts?
Well, the only thing I might add to that is that I think we've spoken in the past, all of us are going to make arts happen in this community. If we're going to use government to try to do it, let's make a mentorship program that's sustainable, that's sparkly, that's desired, you know, and the language that government can speak to the people is in the budgeting and in the investment that's made in that. So let's not be scared of that, you know.
No, but I think some advertising is necessary because no one knows. I mean, no one knows what's going on.
Yeah,
And how do we get that word out? And the website. We really need a website that we can get people engaged, get people looking at it, get people aware of what's going on, you know?
That seemed to be that seemed to be a constant refrain from our community members. How can we learn? How can we be in touch? So
right,
that'll
and
be
we
terrific.
couldn't
when
say
that's
go to the website yet, right?
up and
So,
running.
so we have a motion, it's seconded, and a discussion, roll call.
Just going to read back the motion before taking roll call. Commissioner Grau is to select and present for the Commission's approval an ad hoc committee of 5 community members to advise the Commission on mentorship.
On mentorship, yeah, that's what you have, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Understood. We have the motion by Chairperson West. We have a second by Commissioner Wright. Roll call. Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. Chairperson West.
Yes.
Vice Chair Steiner.
Yes.
Commissioner Grau.
Yes.
Motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. Can
Exciting.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
So let's say at our next meeting, I bring this ad hoc committee, the list of the people who are on it. Can I then ask for money for advertising, or how How should that
I
unfold?
feel like I got Carl's attention here. Right. In the past, ad hoc committees, actually, the chair could put them in place, and then they advise. Do you have any direction for what Commissioner Grouse should be prepared? I mean, can she bring the committee, and these are my people, and we met already, or what do we think here?
So it'd probably be 3 parts. So I would suggest that you bring forth exactly what the scope of the committee is, what they would be doing.
Okay.
So have that put together.
And the people and their qualifications?
Well, that'd be a separate part. So first,
Okay.
the scope of what they'd be overseeing and doing for the commission. And then if you did have candidates that you believe would be best fit, I would share that with the commission of who those people are and get concurrence from the rest of the commission. If there is a monetary request to support it, if it's funding that's available within what's been allocated in the commission's budget, the commission would just need to take a vote to direct
Okay.
the funding to support that commission.
Do I need approval before, so I've already asked Colleen Mara to be on my committee. Did I speak too quickly, or do I need a vote?
No, you're more than welcome to talk to individuals to gauge their interest.
Okay.
But I would just suggest at the next meeting, if you have it ready by then, that get concurrence from the
Okay.
balance of the commission.
Okay.
Sure. If we want to put on
Ad hoc
social
committees
media or-
can be formed by the chair, but if they're going to be expending funds of the city under the purview of the Arts Commission, it should be voted on by the full Arts Commission.
Good.
Okay.
Good information. Thank you, Carl. All right. Let's move on quickly through updates. Commissioner Steiner, public art, or?
I'm not sure quickly is a word, but I shall try.
Mhm.
I have just 2 housekeeping matters. The first is, you will recall last fall, we held a...
Is your thing on? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I have 2 housekeeping matters. You'll recall last fall, we convened a mural jury in order to review the proposed mural to be placed at summer camp by artist Christopher Noxon. And earlier this month, Cassandra Jones, who was chair of the mural jury and whom you heard from earlier this evening, and I, as chair of the Public Art Committee, inspected the mural. And we had such a lag time because we wanted to allow a cycle of seasons, essentially, to go through a harsh winter, to go through a sizzling summer, to get a sense of how the mural held up. And I'm pleased to report that we approved the mural, that it was consistent with the project, and that it conforms in all respects to the project, and it looks beautiful. So that is now done. We can put to bed that whole mural process. It's concluded. The other matter I wanted to mention is the RFQ, the request for qualifications for art advisors. As we've discussed in other meetings, the city is obligated to maintain a list of art advisors. So the RFQ closed. Staff has sifted through the RFQs and has presented a list of what appear to be qualified persons. Or companies. It's now with me as chair, and I will follow up and I will report back at the next meeting. And we will at last have a vibrant list from which private developers can select an art advisor, which is one of the requirements under the statute.
Christine, can I ask how many people are on that list?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I've only received it.
Good.
But you will know next session.
Okay.
Is that it?
That is
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Thanks, staff, for help moving that along a little bit,
Yes,
too.
thank you, Travis.
Corinna, it's been all grants night, Pam?
Yeah.
I was just asking for reports. I don't know if we,
I wasn't sure if Commissioner Grau was next. In terms of a grants
Just
update,
interrupted.
I received the hard copy grants from the city October 7th-ish, a week after the closing. And I have been in the process of going through those and the online grants. We have a total of 19 grants submitted, and as I mentioned earlier, total sum of ask is $204,000 and change. And the city has asked the Arts Commission, i.e. me, the chair of the grants, to determine the eligibility of the applications. So what I have been doing is going through each organization and checking their 501c3 status and making sure they're compliant with the IRS and the Department of Justice, and the overall financial health of the applications, where they outlay how much money they want and how it's going to be allocated. Oftentimes people say they want $10,000, but they allocate in the subdivisions differently, so just double checking math essentially. Putting together a list of questions to put forth to the city and the staff to recommend how to proceed with applications that have some question marks regarding their 501c3 status or their financial health, and for individuals if they did not provide fiscal sponsors. So I will be sending a memo to James on that in the coming days. Meanwhile, I have given to the ad hoc committee their grants to review, minus the questionable ones, until we have a green light for those. And we're meeting the first week of November, and we are on schedule to have the recommendation to you in time for you to review before our November meeting.
I just want to say before we move on that this is such an enormous task, and thank you for handling it so well. It's remarkable.
Each grant application itself, the actual form that you fill, the parts 1, 2, 3, the snapshots, the sections, each grant with their essays, which I'm not reading essays right now, I'm just looking at technical issues with the grant. You know, it's well over 200 pages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the ad hoc committee has their work cut out for them, for sure.
Good. Well, thank you for just doing this with integrity as well, you know, honoring the Brown Act and keeping it communication through staff and through yourself. I was able to listen to this tonight with a real open heart and hear these people talk, so thank you.
I know, I was sitting here and I was like, I'm the only one who has seen these grants, James and I. And so, you know, on the one hand, I felt like they were wondering why the chair of the grants wasn't asking any questions, but
no, I appreciate it.
I kind of had the answers.
I understand that. Commissioner Grau, you have anything? You sort of gave us an update, but what
Yeah,
else
I
you
don't
got?
know if I have anything to add. Is this our final comment for the evening?
No, we're still
Okay.
on updates.
Okay.
I think you got it too. I've been working, David Yoshitomi at the county advised me of a program through the state for the Central Coast. It's called the Catalyst Program. I spoke briefly about it earlier. They want to, there's $9 million, and it's for counties from sort of Monterey south. Santa Cruz South? No, Monterey South to Ventura County. And it's part of COVID recovery from the state. And they're looking for smart ways for the communities to grow back with a particular focus on the underserved and a focus on quality jobs, good jobs. And then they divide it into 4 parts, and the arts and culture are part of one of the parts. And so I was going to apply for the Arts Commission for the city of Ojai for a Catalyst grant. Letter of intent is due tomorrow, and then the grants are due in, I think, 2 or 3 months, for up to $250,000 to do. Initially, I was going to go in with sort of like helping us implement our plan, something like that. But I think when I went to the seminar on the actual grant, I think something that would fall right in line with what the city's trying to do here and what we're trying to do with our arts plan is to do this assessment of what the impact is and how to impact our community with quality art-related jobs, and especially reaching our underserved, especially and with a cultural bent on our kind of the Native American heritage that is here as well. So I'm going to get a letter of intent in tomorrow, and I kind of got to go ahead from city manager on doing that, and then we'll maybe have a committee to kind of work on that application then, and wouldn't that be nice to get a study of the impact of the creative economy in our valley, since the county's already doing one. One of the criteria they're looking at is then what you do, how will that spread throughout the state? You know, will this become like a best practices for other things too? So I'm going to do that. I want to thank Christine for speaking at the last council meeting, and we're going to try to have someone for at every meeting. So if any commissioners are interested in doing that at the regular meetings, give an update on where we're at, to keep, because I think keeping it center of mind. You know, we're competing with gymnastics and animal rights and pickleball, you know, right? And not that those are bad things, but we have to. We are the advisors to the council on the arts and all things arts, and so it's not going to happen if we're not there constantly. Otherwise, they're going to be reacting to things like this. Seems to be a habit there. But let's stay in front of them with that. Anything agenda item? I think we got pretty full with the grants coming up. What else is missing?
Well, I don't know when we would restart the community presentations, in part because we've got a full plate with the grants, but I think probably in December we would. And so I would like us to understand what's going on with the music prohibition. Thank you for commenting. I did speak at city council meeting to say that we were in the dark as to the new edict on the prohibition of music. And we got the good information that the city is in the process of creating a policy and also perhaps looking at an alternative source for sending out the video where there won't be a summary censorship and shutdown. But I would like it on the agenda so we can understand how things are moving forward and where it's going. The other thing I'd like to see on the agenda is sort of a leftover matter, and which might or might not be moot in light of the recent plans for new programming for Libby Bowl or a new entity for Libby Bowl. But the Film Society had expressly asked us to do what we can to encourage the city to give them dates certain so they can plan their films every other Friday, for example, you know, when it would be. And so I would like us to honor that request. Again, the reason it might be moot is because perhaps that's going to be a part of what the city is evaluating with regard to the Libby Bowl RFQ. But and anyway, I'd like us to think about whether that goes on the agenda.
I think maybe if I could ask staff help on, you know, there was an RFP that went out and was closed. I understand there were 3 applicants. A couple times we've said, hey, Arts Commission, we're interested in Libby Bowl. That's part of our plan. So some type of update so we know how the potential change of the way the Libby Bowl is being run impacts the artists in our community, whether that's an agenda item or just a future staff report or an email.
That's going to be before the council at their meeting next Tuesday, the 22nd.
Oh, good, so the timing will be perfect.
Yeah, so the options are to effectively take one of the other 3 vendors for likely a 3-year agreement or longer, or to extend the agreement with the current vendor through 2025, and then potentially look for other options.
So just a one-year extension.
With respect to the dates for any group, including the Music Society, there is a process in place to become a legacy group, and you would then get your preference of dates. And that was extended to the Film Society. It's a simple application that they would need to submit.
Have they submitted that yet?
Not to my knowledge. That
Okay.
was as of 3 months ago.
And they know, you've
They are
advised.
very
Oh,
well
okay.
aware.
Okay, great. That's very
Our
helpful.
plan calls for in the Arts Commission, 5-year plan calls for us recognizing the value of the Libby Bowl and establishing it as a community center where all the arts and creative industry can come together, and it to be, a little more tightly owned. In that regard, I talked to a couple other towns about the way they do it and that sort of thing. So our interest from the Arts Commission is more in that than, who books the big acts there. To me, that's just a very small kind of corner of the potential that the bowl could provide to our city for all the arts. And I want to make sure that that the people in this room know, hey, if I need the Libby Bowl for this, it's going to be easy, friendly, supportive, right.
Yeah.
That's not part of the RFP maybe, but it is in our interest to facilitate that, and we stand ready to help.
I was going to ask
with
if
it.
we could agendize a discussion about Libby Bowl, because I think, I might be wrong, but I think a lot of people don't understand how you get to use Libby Bowl. And so maybe staff could explain the whole process of getting.
Sure. Well, that may change in the next, we'll know more. Council's going to have this discussion, huh?
Well, we won't necessarily know more. What we will know next Tuesday is which option the council selects. Once that's done, then staff would work with that selected vendor to draft the contract language of how all those things work.
Because my understanding is the RFP was for much more than just booking acts. Right.
Yeah. So if they did make a change and go with one of the other 3 management companies, that would be a contract that would be worked out and then would return to council for final approval.
Is that a whole year contract where they have
Multi-year.
exclusive?
It would likely be multi-year.
Okay.
But Tuesday is just a decision on effectively which management company to use. It's not adopting the full contract language. That would come back.
Okay.
Since we have assistant city manager, I will take the opportunity to say that I had a discussion, particularly with the city of Palmdale, about their amphitheater and the way they manage that. And they've been using the same like booking company, a contractor for 25 years, same like sound and light person for 10 years. And there's a combination of staff and contractors and volunteers that kind of runs the thing too. So as I suspected, it's not for a government community to own a performance venue is not something that needs kind of reinvented of the wheel here too. There's a lot of good best practices out there. So I just was excited to hear about that. So.
Do they own their equipment? Do they own their equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
but they're thinking of not doing it right now. Equipment's changing so fast that sometimes rental can be
Better.
smarter, and we have, so I'm changing my tune on that, that it's more like the relationship is what's important with the person that is going to have it there and have it ready. And there is certain infrastructure that could be permanent, trust type stuff, conduit type stuff and all too. Yeah.
Certainly, that's what the Film Society explained to us when they presented, that they rent because that way they have the technological up-to-date, state-of-the-art.
Yeah, especially for something like film.
That's not uncommon. My last agency, we had a few venues that we owned and we actually managed in-house. But on larger productions, they would bring in all their own sound, lighting equipment.
Sure. Yeah, the festival told me they spent in excess of $100,000 on their sound and light, and when I saw that, I thought, wow, you could probably buy that gear for half that, but then, and you're stuck with it, and you got to store it, and you got to have someone run it and maintain it. I get it. All right, thank you. I'm thanking myself because I gave my update. Speakers. So next Tuesday, we want someone to go kind of give an update to them too. Future agenda items. I'm sorry, we got staff. Okay, budget. Staff liaison report.
Yes, the only report we have is a budget report. Staff recommendation is receive and file.
It's here, isn't it?
It is. This includes both the annual budget as well, or adopted budget, as well as a budget report. Presently, we only have an expenditure of about $450, which was from art hanging in Kent Hall. Any questions?
We paid for that?
That was my understanding.
It's not important.
It's the city collection.
It's the
Yes,
city,
it's the city collection. That's how it has been. When it was installed in City Hall, it was the same scenario. I don't think that's inappropriate.
No. Good.
And especially because we would prefer ourselves to manage the city collection than to hand it over. So,
Sure.
with money comes power.
I believe it was that through Commissioner Leeds, the person who was selected to hang all of the artwork, there was payment for the hanging process.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well there should be, exactly.
Right. I just want to thank Mayor Stick. She came to us, she came to me and said, "Oh, we need to beautify this place. Can you help?" And I think we were able to and did it. But she didn't say, "Will you pay to do this to me?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's
Seems
a
like it
balance.
should be a-
I want to be there to help.
Seems like a Kent Hall expense.
I disagree. It's a city collection. It's our expense.
It's all the same money. I'm just.
Right.
Okay, did you want to try to, I know, and I finally understand the difference between the kind of cash items on the front page and then the 81 is what's in the arts fund here.
Yes.
And the 30 was a little strange number to me.
I can provide a little bit of insight on the adopted budget. With that, we have on the front page, you'll see the proposed budget. These are the items that are falling into 010 as the leading characters. These would be general fund budget items that are available for the Arts Commission, basically available spending at beginning of year as approved by the City Council. On the second page, you will see what's 013, which would be the restricted funds. Restricted funds, these are typically public arts funds. So we have available for the general budget, it looks like the adopted total was $77,650. For the public arts funds, we presently have $81,500. Carl, please correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, that's a general understanding of the various funds. Individual line items or suggestions on what various funds can be used for. And yeah, any questions, I'm happy to field them.
So when something's spent, does it go in that, like, to the council, does it go in that warrants thing? That's usually a consent item? Is that where that, or is it already spent here?
I can't speak to the spending on the city council, but what we'll see here, in the adopted budget, you won't see any expenses that have been spent to date. You'll see that on the budget report that's provided. That's the second attachment, attachment B. And with that, you'll notice there is the column of year-to-date amount and the budgeted amount with those.
Yeah, I guess my question, and maybe Carl, you can tell me, at every council meeting, there's that consent item where it's just pretty much, these are all the checks we wrote. Does this go to that, or is it, once we spend it here, it's already sort of approved?
Well, let me just take a step back. So what you're looking at, the first couple pages that are in the landscape format are the city's adopted budget. And then the final, I believe, 3 pages, they're in the normal format, are a budget report as of October 10th. So what you'd really want to key in on in that report is the leading column with the numbers that says budget amount. That's what was approved in the current fiscal year budget for each of those respective line items. The second amount, which it says period amount, that's from the start of the fiscal year through October 10th. So that would show any expenditures that had been made. And then simply the variance is the differential between the adopted budget and the expenditure. So that's how that report works. What you're referring to on the consent item is what's called the warrant resolution. So all the checks that are effectively written, every single check every 2 weeks
Goes to that.
shows up on that report, but showing checks and ACH payments. So effectively, any payment the city's made, if it's a payment to CalPERS retirement or for a public works vehicle or for a piece of public art, it would show up on that report.
But grants goes, but when our grant recommendations go to council, it seems to be treated a little differently because of the size or because?
So once the grants are paid, they would still show up on that warrant report, because again, that's reporting every single expenditure. The city
Right,
made.
but Pamela's $300 thing for education isn't going to be a item at the council meeting, or is it?
It's simply, it's a receive and file report that shows all the expenditures. So again, anything the city spends on any program of the city's money is going to be on that report.
Okay, but so why is the grants treated differently?
Again, when you're awarding grants from the city, they're going to be on that report as well.
I know, but is it, what happened last year, was it because council person Francina pulled that as a discussion item from a consent? There was a big discussion about the grants, and it changed the way they were awarded last year. And I'm just trying to understand.
Oh, you're
that
talking
process.
about, you're talking about the actual awarding of the grant money.
Yeah.
That's separate. Okay, we're talking about two separate
Because of the amount, or?
So the warrant register, that's kind of after everything's happened, the check's been written in the mail, it's gonna show up there. What you're talking about was the process of actually awarding the grants themselves. So when that goes to council, as it will, because the expenditure has to be approved by council, the steps were, is we opened the application window for grants, we received grants. The applicants came here, as they did tonight, and presented last year. Last year's process was there was an outside committee that made some recommendations to the Arts Commission. And then from the Arts Commission's committee, that went to the city council. And the city council is free to make changes as they see fit. That process could have gone potentially differently. They didn't have concurrence with the recommendations that came from the committee, and they reallocated the award amounts when they pulled it.
But I just want to clarify one point in the scenario you're saying. It isn't, they weren't recommendations from the committee, they were recommendations from the commission. The committee, you're talking about the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee made recommendations to this commission made recommendations to the city. It's just a nuance I want to clarify for the record.
Yeah, that was the process last year, but effectively it was structured by the subcommittee. Yes, the commissions did vote on
All
it.
right. I guess I'm not being clear. My question was, what makes the grants thing different than the $300 for the speaker honorarium? Is it because of the amount? Why? Because it seems it's in what you call the general fund, already approved.
But Smitty, I already was approved, we were already approved for $6,000 for education.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're approved
that's already been
30,000 for
approved.
grants.
Right.
That's my point. I'm just trying to understand, what is it? Is it because of the amount, or why?
Anytime that you're going to give money to an outside group or nonprofit, that's going to go.
You're going to put that
council
as a...
for approval. Smaller expenditures, if you hired one of the nonprofits here tonight to do training and education that's within your budget, that's not going to go to the council, but a $30,000 give to community groups certainly is.
Okay. I'm just curious, is it where the breakover is, or that sort of thing?
That would be the case in any agency.
Okay. I think I got
Am I
a...
understanding this right, that we have $77,650 in the Arts
No,
Commission
you're on... No, our
bank
budget...
account?
The budget would be $47,450 from the general fund.
Right, but we have another 30,000 for public art.
That's still unclear to me what that is. That's public arts program, 30,000.
Is that to purchase
Sort of, I
art?
think what they're saying, like, we could, it sounds like it was pre-authorized that if we wanted to spend 30 of the 45, we
No.
didn't ask for that. Am I reading that?
No, what that is, so previous to this fiscal year's budget, for lack of a better term, the Arts Commission Department General Fund was commingled with the 1% development fee for public arts. And that's not really the appropriate way to do it. General fund money can be used on any governmental purpose. So it's effectively the most flexible funding you have.
Yeah.
The 1% development for public arts is a funding source that has a restricted use. It should not be reflected in the general fund.
Correct.
So last spring, when we were developing the budget, I asked that that be separated out in its own special fund, which is now Fund 13. So what you're seeing was some of the residual money that was living in the general fund getting transferred out to Fund 13.
Ah.
So if you look at Fund 13, you're going to see a transfer in.
Right. But, so I have a question then, and thank you for that explanation. Oops, I have a question. Thank you for that explanation. I did understand that the fund is now segregated. And so, if I understand it correctly, that is the fund that has approximately $81,000 in it.
So look at the balance of transfers.
As I think that's what James earlier reported. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
It would be, to try to explain, so it would be 81,000 if you were to spend nothing at the end of the fiscal year, because that
Yeah.
revenue is things that we expect to accrue, interest accruements throughout the course of the year.
right, but snapshot right now, it's the 81 and change.
5, that's the
Yeah.
public art fund.
Public art fund, the now
it wouldn't be-
appropriately segregated
Yeah,
public
it's,
art fund.
it wouldn't be 81,000 today, because again, some of this is interest that accrues on the principal balance, but it's
and
close.
That was one of the two questions I had. I think 2 sessions ago, 2 meetings ago, I asked if the fund is interest-bearing. So now we know, yes, it is interest-bearing. Is that correct?
All special funds are interest-bearing. That's
That's-
one of the advantages
Right.
of separating it out.
Great.
So the
This doesn't make
city's
any
money is in the state investment pool. They pay a percentage of money, or I'm sorry, a percentage on money that is there. So at the end of the year, that's a certain dollar amount. And then we take that, and then we look at our special funds that have balances, and we'll accrue that interest to those funds based upon their respective balances.
Okay, great. And then the 30,000 that seems to be transferring in, is
And
that?
there is a typo on this now that I'm looking at it.
Okay.
For some reason, the transfer out was added to the balance. That 7765 should be 4745. It shouldn't be added.
Where is this? Okay, right.
Yeah. Okay, that actually makes more sense to me, because what that reflects is the grants plus the other expenses we had, which I think went to Karina's question of why was it so high.
So where it says
So-
Arts Commission Department total.
Total, it should be
That
47.
number should be $200, which is the contract services, plus your cultural arts programs to 4745.
Okay.
So that number should be 47,650.
650,
It
okay.
should not include a transfer.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so, but back to my question about the 30. Is that because it was sort of sitting somewhere else? Because we always had the public art fund, and this 30,
The mechanism they were using is the funds that were sitting from money they collected on the development fees were sitting as effectively a liability in the general fund.
okay.
But now that's been cleaned up, and now
Got
we
it.
have our own special fund.
So
and
that was
it'll
bookkeeping.
be
Please.
something that you'll have a starting balance every year. You'll see the money come in, money spent out, and an ending balance.
Okay.
So it's a much cleaner way to do it, and now you get the advantage of interest allocation.
Right, and so. So that's what I'm trying to get at. No, I think the 80-something is right.
Sounds
Here's
right, yeah.
Here's my other question, and James, I think you can answer this. I would assume that the approximate $52,000 that is escrowed for El Roblar is not included in this. And if so, then my question is, where does that sit?
I would need to check in with staff on that one, unless, Carl, you have an answer to that directly. My understanding is that when a project begins, that those funds are held by the city until they have decided whether or not they're fulfilling the art criteria, or if those funds are to be released into the public arts funds.
Got it, got it. So that is still a pending question then. And do we have an update on when the El Roblar may make a determination?
Presently, we have reached out to see if there's been any change in the status. We have heard no change of status at present. My understanding is that a decision must be reached before they're issued a certificate of occupancy.
So they can't even move forward to open the doors until they've resolved this?
That is the understanding I have at present.
Great. And then I have one final question about the Public Art Fund, and that is, and as Smitty noted earlier, in past meetings with past commissions, we had a running total of what's happening in sort of a matrix of where things are going in the public art process, and we're going to renew that so we get it every meeting.
So looking into that, it appears that it hadn't been updated in about 3 years. So what we would be looking at would be effectively we'd need to audit all of the transactions over a 3-year period, unless we would like to reach out to request that staff gets direction to do so. At this time, that would require additional staff time.
But I think that's okay. I mean, we need it, and we used to have that staff time. So if we have to make, so do you propose we make a motion to commit additional staff time?
Let's give them a month to sort that out. James and I met and talked about this earlier in the week, and I think.
Well, then inform the public. What are you saying here?
Oh, well, I'm saying that that we're not even sure that old report was right. That was the one that I dug up was
And I
3
dug
years
one up.
old. Yeah,
Right. But we found it to be a very helpful tool. Certainly, I found it to be a very helpful tool in terms of knowing what projects are in the works, literally, and where they are in the process. And it doesn't have to look like the same matrix we used to have, but we do need that information so that we can appropriately manage the public art process.
If I may,
Yes.
I will mention that the charts provided by both Chairperson West and Vice Chair Steiner, we're not discussing the same chart with each. The one that was previously provided to me is an itemized list of all expenditures going in and out of the Public Arts Fund. So to recreate and maintain that would effectively, we would be doing an audit over a 3-year period prior to this, which would require additional staff time, which means we would have to receive direction from the city manager to do so. What I'm seeing, and again, I've just barely gotten this document today, so I haven't been able to review in depth, but it appears that this is primarily more of a status update to the public art funds and current projects that are ongoing with it. With that, we presently only have the one, so we may be able to provide that, but at this time we don't. This isn't a report that that we have readily generated. So it is something where we can discuss allocating staff time, but I will need to receive direction on that from the city manager.
I see. Okay, so I don't think it's that first form we need, unless our chair feels otherwise. It's that second one that sort of tells us what's going on as things are in the pipeline. And in whatever manner you want to present it to us, that's fine. I think we and the public just need to know what the heck is going on here. So, thank you.
We can put in a request for additional staff time.
Great. Thank you, James.
Are you done?
I was just going to say, and I have no more. I did have one more question of Carl, and that is, so Carl, with these sorts of numbers, so 81, assuming El Roblar comes through, or at 130 and change, what is the interest? What do we sort of make on, say, 100? Is it, what percent interest do we?
The interest on LAVE, it's pretty low. Interest rates have ticked up. It's not what you would get if you were to go down the bank.
It's not great, okay, but it's
I mean,
something.
it's in the
It's better
2 to
than
3s.
nothing.
Yeah, it's like
2%'s not nothing. Okay, great, thank you.
I have a question.
I'm finished.
Okay. I'm curious, this, I don't know what page this is, page 142 of 183. This interest income on the proposed budget detail worksheet, the $15,530, is that interest on what? 15, is that the total interest? I mean, 15, how are you getting 15? I'm curious. I want to know how to invest like this. You have $15,000 in interest on $55,000. I guess that's a question for Carl.
Which page are you looking at?
I'm looking at the, I guess, second page of this proposed budget detail.
It's called page 142 of 183.
The second page of the landscape formatted under public arts funds revenues.
Line 2 of Fund 13.
What, the 250?
No, the $15,530 in interest income.
Page 142.
No,
You're not pointing this, I'm not seeing that interest income.
So this would be
It's accrued.
I know, but I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I suspect what that is it had accrued over a number of years.
That
And
makes
when they were
sense.
transferring out to the new fund,
Okay.
that's what it, because keep in mind,
That's what I was thinking.
this fund's brand new this fiscal year, so this is what had basically, even the 30,000 is what accumulated over multiple fiscal years.
Okay.
in the general fund.
Okay. And then, I guess what Christine was talking about was that very simplified budget that we would get at each meeting.
Yeah.
simplified in that it doesn't include budget for the police department and things like that. So it was just like a very straightforward.
I wasn't talking about a budget, I was just talking about projects in process.
Okay.
James and I have a scheduled meeting every month, and believe me, this is an item we're talking about, so
Okay.
it's not something that is
And-
going to get
and-
solved right now.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
And one other thing, you kind of skipped over me for the recommended future agenda items. Do I have to now give the agenda
No.
item? Or can I?
But you may.
No, okay, I don't.
Okay. Okay. Anything for staff, Pamela? Nope. Okay. I'm going to move on to commissioner comments if we're done with staff. I believe that we do not have city council on Zoom or anything, right? There's
No, again,
okay.
the city council's at the League of
They're in
California
San
Cities.
Diego, yeah.
conference.
Okay, commissioner comments. I just, anyone want to give a little brief, happy thank you or something else positive?
I know Pam will talk about the OSA tour in which she participated, but I just want to say how uplifting and wonderful and huge it was. Karina and I went to artist studios. We went to quite a number, and it was really quite impressive. It was quite a weekend here in Ojai.
And to add to that, again, incredible event, the amount of effort that all the artists go through to organize their work and clean their studios and provide refreshments and signage and maps and brochures is incredible. And I also wanted to put forth an observation that so many of these artists that are living here in Ojai, and I don't know if the city council or the city management knows, that much of their inspiration is legitimately the landscape of Ojai. And these artists are responding to the environment, the physical landscape environment, and the Ojai community. And they're making art. And it's just almost sort of the antithesis of what we're trying to do here. Mm-hmm. It's just a case in point that we are an arts town, that our creative economy is driven by Ojai itself and the combination of the artists, and the importance of increasing these funds is just should just be a no-brainer for sure.
Right.
But incredible to see everybody's interpretations of Ojai, from the plants to the mountains, etc.
Yeah.
Animals, birds, all of it.
It's nice. It's like a
Yeah,
town hall.
it is. They're not working in a vacuum.
Yeah.
They're here in Ojai to experience Ojai and to make expressions about Ojai.
Right.
And it's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, I would like to add to that that's why the city acknowledgement of, you have 63 artists that went through that whole process this weekend. And we did raise a lot of money for the student scholarships at Nordhoff for the next generation. But we have so many nonprofits here in town. I mean, we saw them tonight. How can we support everybody doing what they're doing? I mean, this, you have no, I guess you do know how many hours go into planning something like this, and it's all grassroots. Nobody gets paid. It's just a nonprofit. Everybody's working for free. Everybody's working as hard as they can to do this community event. And it's a big event, and it really needs the support of the city. I mean, really, let the artists do the art, and we should be really, as the Arts Commission, how can we help you? Mm-hmm. And it's more than OSA. I mean, I'm obviously attached to this, but it's all of the arts, or the dancers, how can we help you keep this town enlivened with the arts? How can we support you? And yes, we only have so much from the city in terms of money, but how can we help you? Maybe it's connecting some people, maybe it's getting other people in the community who are not the creatives who have the marketing skills or who have the enthusiasm to support the arts. That's what I'd like to see. How can we utilize everybody to keep this town running? Because the city doesn't have enough money right now to give us to make it, you know, and hundreds of hours by hundreds of people, you know. And it needs to be, I feel like it needs to be acknowledged by the city, you know, that they understand. I was so happy to see you because we need the arts commissioners to know what this tour is, you know. And it's an incredible event to open your homes to the, you know, to California, basically. We had people from New York. We had people from London come
This
through.
was an event that I knew about prior to moving to Ojai.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in Los Angeles knows about it.
I
Anybody
believe we're
in
on
art world.
Pamela's.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I thought, were you finished with your statements? I didn't just,
I thought we were just having conversation now.
no, we're having commissioner comments.
So anyhow,
So
we-
are you
we
finished with your
raised-
commissioner comments?
My
Pamela,
comments
are
is
you?
we raised tons of money for scholarships. We enlivened the community. I would like to, my comment is I would like to see the city. I'd like to see the city council go on the tour, you know. I would like to see a lot of people on the tour. And I would like to see us give that attention to the other organizations as well. I mean, I personally am committing tonight to go to as many of these events as I can, you know, and show up.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Thank you.
I'm tired.
Thank you. No, you're
I'm
fine.
pretty
All right.
tired.
I just want to be careful not to focus too much on one organization. I mean, this was beautiful tonight that we had dance, group singing, film, literary, poetry, music, visual arts, theater. Puppets is the one that wasn't on my list that I had to add at the end. I mean,
I'm
wow.
excited about that.
Wow. Well, the things we're talking about, this is our job. You know, we're here to advise City Council, Commission. We're here to advise City Council on these things. And if they're not getting, if they're not hearing us, we're either saying it wrong or we're not saying it enough or not saying it loud enough, all right? So that's our job. We're here to try to use government to make this work, and I think it can. So I want to, again, just thank Manager Carl and Liaison James for always being there, because you have to be there, and understanding the passion that we have to make stuff happen. And we're going to talk to whoever's in front of us for that. Tomorrow's Ojai Day, which is a city. I'm sorry, Saturday. Saturday is Ojai Day. Come to Ojai Day. That's a great celebration of everything that's Ojai. I know that Isha put together the Libby Bowl, program. I think Ojai Day is slowly getting back to what it used to be. It used to be an investment in the city to really showcase everything that is Ojai, and so much of that is our creative economy as well. So with that, this meeting is adjourned until our next meeting, which is Thursday, November 21, where we'll talk about some grants, I believe. So thank you, everybody.